Hi, welcome back to Jen's Addiction. Thank you so much for coming back to see me today. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, and thank you for coming to see me and subscribing. It means a lot. I really, really have a ton of fun kind of going down all these crazy rabbit holes and talking about things that I love or that I'm thinking about and that I am truly addicted to in my everyday life. So you guys have all indulged me and come along for the ride, and I appreciate that so, so much. So one thing that I am addicted to musically would be some favorite bands. One of my absolute all-time favorite bands is the Cramps, and one of my favorite albums by the Cramps is called Smell of Female, and that would be their first live album. This album was recorded live in 1983 at the Peppermint Lounge in New York City. And so I thought maybe today I would sort of talk about this particular album a little bit, maybe just give an overview of it, sort of let people understand maybe what it is about it that I love. Obviously, they have so many wonderful albums. There's so many great songs. I think The Crusher is probably one of my absolute favorite songs by them as well, which is not on this live record, but this record to me really embodies the spirit of the Cramps. And so I thought it might be worthwhile talking about that a little bit. There's a lot of other folks out there, I'm sure, who've mentioned this record. A lot of you have texted me or emailed me and let me know that the Cramps is one of your favorite bands. And a few of you have actually cited this record. So I've been thinking about doing this video for a while. So maybe it was, the stars were aligning and trying to tell me something that I needed to go ahead and move forward and do it. So why not? So today's the day to talk about the Cramps. So it's just sort of an overview of this particular record, recorded in 83, February 25th and 26th, like I said, in New York City at the historic Peppermint Lounge. There is a UK version on Big Beat Records, a US version on Enigma, and there's French versions on New Rose. And the French also have a 7-inch kind of like a little 7-inch box set, which I'll show you in a minute, that I'm lucky enough to have. So this is my 83 Enigma US copy. They're all pretty much kind of look the same. The real difference, of course, is going to be, your labels on the inside. I also have an 86 New Rose copy. This is a French copy. And then I also picked up a bootleg copy. Of course, if you know the Cramps, you know they are no strangers to bootleg records, but this is the bootleg version, which includes the 3 additional songs. Actually, I think 4 additional songs. The 7-inch box set has an additional song on it, but when they released this record on CD, they included 3 additional songs. So this includes those, which is part of the reason I picked it up, because I don't have my CD out. So the songs on this record are the Most Exalted Potentate of Love, which I love. I think the first side 1 is probably my absolute favorite side. You've got Good Taste and Call of the Wig Hat, which I believe this is the only place to find Call of the Wig Hat. So that I love. Faster Pussycat is on the second side. That's how it starts. Ain't Nothing But a Gorehound, making sure I'm reading this right. So if you see me reading my notes, you'll know what I'm doing. And Psychotic Reaction. The CD version included Beautiful Gardens, She Said, and Surfin' Dead. So all songs, with some exceptions, were written by Lux and Ivy. The record is produced by the Cramps, and also, I believe, produced with help from Paul McKenna, I believe is his name. And so, like I said, they were all written by Lux and Ivy, Lux Interior and Ivy Rorschach, except Faster Pussycat was by Bert Shafter, which I had learned, a Russian immigrant songwriter. I thought that was just kind of, he has a whole section. You could probably do a whole show just on him. I thought he was kind of a little of a fascinating character and career. Ends up doing jazz and music, and some, I think, does music for commercials, things of that in the future. Psychotic Reaction is a 1966 hit that was made popular by the group Count 5. They were sort of known for doing live concerts in Dracula capes and that type of thing. There's some videos of them on YouTube. If I can find those links, I'll put some of this information down below in the description. So maybe you guys can check it out if you haven't already. But it's really neat to sort of see the live footage of the band and the music that inspired Lux and Ivy so much when they began their musical journey as the Cramps. So like I said, so there's the main album. The next release they did too was a French 7-inch box set. So that's the front, that is the back. It is listed as a limited edition. Mine is number 2443. There are numbers. Now, I was not able to find all of like what the range was, like maybe they did 5,000 copies, like that type of thing. But I think there was one listed online with a number of 6,392. And if that's the case, then we know they've at least made that many, right? So, but this is super cool. So this actually, I love this so much. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's so awesome. So this has the Call of the Wig Hat and the Most Exalted Potentate of Love. So this is green. They're all different colors. You'll see each one will have a band member's name. So that one says Lux. And if it's green, we've got the green label. Some of the vinyl is different colors. There's Lux on the back of that one. This is one for Knox. This is the yellow one. I'm trying to read here. This has Weekend on Mars, which is the additional song that shows up on this box set, as well as Ain't Nothing But a Gorehound. That's the picture on the back. There is the front. This one should have, blue record with the yellow label on it. This has Psychotic Reaction. This is the Kid Kongo. I believe this one is a one-sided only record. So I got the yellow on that. And then my favorite one to listen to says Faster Pussycat. You Got Good Taste. And that's Ivy's name on the front and the white record and the picture on the back. I made some notes here that it had said the first one came in red and white. The second one is the green with the black. The third one is the yellow with the blue. And the fourth one is a blue sleeve. And then you can have an orange, green, or a clear kind of yellow, I think. So maybe this is the orange. Maybe it's like a clear vinyl. This is the only set I have. I don't have any of the others. I have seen some of the other colors online. If any of you have this box set, I'd love to know what number you have and you know, if you have a different color on there. I just absolutely love this box set. Lux took the pictures of Ivy. He designed the cover. So definitely has their imprint all over it, as well as the cover here. So you can really kind of see how they incorporate that image and reuse some of that imaging. And then there's some more of Ivy down there in the bottom. So Lex did, of course, I think a lot of these album covers, putting her on the front and really just showcasing her in the most amazing ways. So I just really, I love that. The imagery that the Cramps sets up for us is always just fantastic. So when I think about this record and what really makes me love it so much, I guess I should say first off, when you think about the Cramps, a lot of people will call them rockabilly, psychobilly, punk rock. I think really I like to think of them in the way that Lex and Ivy like to think of themselves, which was a rock and roll band, that they were true to the love of rock and roll, sex, love, death, just a lot of fun. I think they were quoted sometimes as saying watching them live was like watching a voodoo show, that they were hypnotic and entrancing, and it would stir up everything primal in you. So I do think they were a real lover of that type of imagery, and it comes through in everything that they do. I believe that they seem like a band that seems kind of crazy and out of control, but everything is so number one, I think they believed in, they walk the walk and talk the talk, right? Like they didn't do anything that they weren't 100% on board with. But I also think everything was very, very strategic and done for a purpose. And it just gels together. And on this particular record, it just gels so, so good. This whole album, I think, showcases the power of the Cramps. I mean, from the moment you can hear the crowd and the man comes up on stage and introduces them, and they just start in right away, and you hear Knox on drums, and then that combination of Ivy and Kid Kongo doing guitar together. I mean, no bass player at all. And Lux using his voice in that range and with depth and emotion, like another whole instrument separate that just adds something else to this album and this group is just fantastic. I really think also that this album, as with many of their albums, but the songs that they chose on this album, the title of the album, the imagery of the album is a real celebration of women and the desire to showcase women and embrace that power and sexuality, which kind of makes sense. I think a lot of their records are about, imagery is like highlighting powerful women. Ivy produced almost all of their records, at some point, from what I understand. She really spearheaded and kept a lot of it going and really was sort of that driving force in the band silently. She just would stand back there with her poise and play her guitar and just was a powerhouse, but not in your face about it. But she was everything. Like, she's amazing. I think what a great role model to me. I think she's fantastic. But it kind of makes sense also when you think about where they came prior to being a band. I think at some point she might have even been, a dominatrix or had worked in that kind of an industry. And of course, as many of you know, later on, Lux was not shy about being on stage and sporting some high heels. And I think he embraced the feminine. So I can only imagine the raw sexuality and power that was exuded during this concert and this live performance. I think they were just at that peak. I really, of course, miss Brian. I think he was such an amazing part of the band when they started. But Kid Kongo just, doesn't miss a beat. I think he sounded great live. Everything about it is live and powerful. I just can't say enough good things about this record. It's sort of, I could go song to song. I think many of you know, I've said before, I'm not the best at reviewing each song. I do believe every album and every song to every person evokes different emotions and feelings. But this, to me, if you want to hear what this band would have been like, I don't think you could pick a better record to listen to get the whole essence of who they are as a band, what they were probably like live, the energy and the passion and the power that they had. So I just love it. There's just something about it. I think it really does stir the animal and the primal and everything that, Lex would talk about. The Call of the Wig Hat is just, I love that song, and I'll put it on repeat. I'm one of those people that, back in the day when you made your own cassettes, you'd put a song on repeat 100 times over for 45 minutes. Call of the Wig Hat would be my repeat song. Absolutely. I think they're all just really wonderful. Obviously, they do their takes on other people's music, but that's not unusual for the Cramps. But it's always in a way that really highlights the song, and they really make it their own. So I don't know. I think it's pretty fantastic. And a lot of folks too were sort of, I've noticed in some of the reviews and different talks about not wondering like what was Call of the Wig Hat about or other themes in their music. And I was really lucky enough to get a copy of Some New Kind of Kick. And this was Kid Kongo Power's autobiography. And I did find a book called Journey to the Center of the Cramps. And in both of these books, these are really great. It's funny. I think you learn an awful lot about Kid Kongo. So if you're a fan of the Cramps, I really highly recommend this. It's also an audiobook, which is great because he talks on his own. But the section where he talks about meeting Lex and Ivy and how he became part of a band at this time is super interesting, and how absolutely methodical I think they were about their image and what they wanted. And they really held, I think, a lot of control. And in this particular book, is it Dick Porter? I think Dick Porter. I think there's two versions of this book. One that's written after Lex's death in 2009, where they take the existing book and add on to it. I believe that's what this copy is. But they really talk about Lex's love in growing up in Ohio, around Akron, for music and listening to DJs. And one in particular would have been Pete Myers, which I think was the big Mad Daddy. And they do have a song called Mad Daddy on one of their albums. I think that is a complete reflection of Lex and the things that he loved. That image of gore and sexual desire that kind of is showcased through also reflects back to interest in kind of like monster movies and horror movies at the times, the EC comic books, and he was a fan of Goulardi, and I think all that kind of comes through in some of those DJs in those areas. Wig hat was something I think that was talked about on the air. I was really trying to find the quote on that before I made this video, and I couldn't turn it up, but I'm thinking the call of the wig hat is addressing that primal feeling that he would have felt as a teenager and as a kid, listening to these records, getting kind of stirred up and wanting that kind of power and that aggression and all the things that he loved. And he was a huge fan of Pete Myers. And so, it kind of makes sense to me that, Mad Daddy, maybe Call the Wig Hat, all these are songs that pay tribute to the things that shaped him and shaped him musically that he loved so much. So just something to think about. It's kind of my spin and take on maybe what those records mean. Again, I could talk about a million Cramps records, and maybe I will. My other favorite would be A Date with Elvis. Maybe that will be a date for a different time. But I really, really love Smell of Female. It is my favorite to listen to. I can put it on at any time, and it just kind of takes me to a place that I wish I could have been, which was 1983 at the Peppermint Lounge, watching my favorite band, the Cramps, just rock out like crazy. And I think it would have been amazing. I get chills just thinking about it. So on that note, I think I'll leave it there today. I'll definitely find something else to come back and talk about with the Cramps. If you have a favorite Cramps album, I would love to know what it is. If you've never listened to the Cramps, please, I hope you do. And I hope you let me know too if you like them. I know it's not for everybody, but if you do love good rock and roll with a little bit of a twist and that kind of punk sensibility, I think the Cramps are absolutely perfect. And imagery, music, everything. I just think it's a win in my opinion. And maybe not for everybody, but I don't know. I just don't see how anybody could not love the Cramps. So please come back and see me. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Share my channel with some friends or anybody that you think might find it interesting. Again, I do appreciate everybody being a part of this crazy journey for me. And I will definitely be back with some more music reviews, opinions, anything you can think about. But until then, I hope you're all spinning some wonderful, great tunes, discovering something new for you, and maybe, answering the call of the wig hat. Bye.